Hi girls! In this tutorial, I will be showing you how to create your login screen in Thunkable. Remember, we downloaded the assets from Marvel app, right? So basically, we're just using the assets. And just to let you know, if you think that design or this design is too difficult, you can actually use some you can actually remake some Thunkable login screen. I'm gonna send you the link. If you choose to remix anyone, that's fine as well. But if you want to create something unique, something, and you want to understand how it's properly done, then stay back and listen to what I have to say. Right. So I'm gonna create a new app now. But before I start working, you see on the left hand side, you see I have it designed already. Okay, so I'm going to show you what it looks like, and that's it here. Let me just open it and show you what I have there. um then I will now start. I will now create from the start. So this is it here. It looks a bit goofy here now, but when you preview it, it looks a lot better. All right, so you could preview using this. Okay, so like you see that it's just very similar. What I did in this case, I just pushed this one downwards so that we can see the text. At the same time, you can also use the live preview test. You can test it from your mobile app, you know yourself. Or you can also, when you choose the live preview test, this comes up as well. So you can do this as well. Okay, right. So that's it there. So I'm going to start from the scratch. And before there, you can see on your left hand side, you see I have everything all documented. I'm going to be sending this across to you as well. So you can, just know exactly the information to put in. It's a lot, but it's worth doing. All right, so let me go back to the beginning and we start from the very, very scratch. Right, so create a new app. You know how to do that. I'm going to call this proof one. Okay, proof one, because I have proof there already. Proof one. And then category, I'm going to choose community because this is a community project and I want it to be private. Well, I'm doing private because I have a paid version of Thunkable. But you have to leave yours public because you do not have a paid version. All right, create. So that's it. Now, so the first thing we need to do is to bring in the assets, the stuff that we downloaded from from Marvel app. All right, so I'm going to click on this section here, choose a file. Now, if you do not want to, if you have separate files on your own, then that's fine. So I'm going to go to proof. And that's it. I saved it inside the images folder here. That's it there. So if you can still remember, I have a background. I have a Google logo. I also have and the proof logo. So let me start with the proof logo. That's it here. Assets, and that's it here. So that's the proof logo in there. Yeah, so here we go. I brought in the 4 different assets that we created in Marvel app. That's the way you can do that. Okay, it's not that you're going to get all the the same screen and all that. No, you just have the assets, the right sizes, everything all made up for you, right? So yeah, so that's done now. So that's the first step. Bring in all the photographs or all the pictures that you want to make use of. Now the second thing you want to do now is to create a column. That's column 1, just one column. Okay, so I'm going to come to my add component section and I'll look for column. I just type in column and that's it there. So I'm going to click and drag it in here. Okay, so that's the main thing there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create seven rows. And how did I arrive at 7 rows? All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how to figure out how to structure or the number of rows to put in your application before you get started, because it's good to get a layout. It's like when you're building a house, you need to design the structure. So the structure is key, so that will make life a lot easy for you. All right, so let me go to Marvel app. Yeah, I think that's it there. So I'm going to preview this and let's see how I arrived at my 7 rows. Okay, so first of all, you see where we have the proof logo? Yeah, that's row number 1. Then the next one is row number 2. Then the next one, this one here is row number 3, row 4, 5, 6, and this last text here 7, which eventually I brought down here to make it darker because it's not very obvious there. So you can see that that's the way I came up with 7 rows. All right, so back to Thunkable. Now, so 7 rows, so you know how we got that. So now the best way to bring in your rows, remember all the rows will be inside this column. So the best way to make sure you don't get your rows messed up, because there's lots of times that some people, that especially beginners, they place the rows and columns inside each other and you get a little bit messy. But I just want to show you a strategy to make sure you are very precise as to the exact stuff that you really need. Now, row, let me look for row here. Row, okay. So that's row there. So I'm going to click on, I'm adding my first row. I'll make sure it's because I want it to be inside the column. Once I see this orange thing by the corner there, orange, right? I know it's going to go inside that column 1. So that's it there. So row number 1. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring in 7 rows and place them like the same way, like that. Once it's just, I'm seeing that orange line there, I know that's going inside the row. Sorry, the column. Now, so I'll do that for the next seven rows. Okay, so now I've added all 7 rows, but you see the way it is now. It is named from the top 7 to 1 there. But what I do, just before I get started, I actually name it properly. All right. So I'm gonna go to the first one here, which is my first row. To be honest with you, it's supposed to be my row 1, but it's at the top. Right, so what I'm going to rename it so it makes it a lot easier for me to understand. So I'll click on it, or you could actually call it, but I named them row 1 here, but you could call it the exact content if you like. But I just want to name them the way I have them on my Word document here. So this is actually my row 1, you know, because I'm going to be putting all the information from the top. So this is my row 1 and this is my row 7. So I'm going to rename it. But I have to be careful with my renaming, because if I name this one row 1, it will tell me it has a row 1 already. So I will name it in such a way that it will not repeat itself. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select row 7. I'll come in here. I'll click on this icon, rename. Now I'm going to call it row 1, but I'll put an underscore 1, so that it will not say it has the same row 1 there. So yeah, so that's row 1 underscore. So I'll go to this one, the 6th one there. I'll rename it row 2, row underscore 2, right? Then the 5th one here, I'll come in here, and so on and so forth. Row number 3. Yes, now I've renamed them now. So the one on top is now row 1 and the one at the bottom is row 7, just like I've named them here. So now what do we do in row 1? I'll select my row 1. All right. So yeah, so the first thing I'm going to bring now, it's the logo. Remember, that's what's on the top, and I have it already brought in here. So that's logo, that's this logo here. And how do I do that? I need to bring in an image container so that the logo can reside in it. So I'll come in here, I'll type in image, that's it here, and I'll put it inside of my row 1. So you could either drop it right on the canvas, or you can go in straight into the row and drop it inside. Okay, so I'll select that and I'll come to the property inspector panel here. In fact, before I start doing anything, I like naming my images. Anything I put on the canvas, I want to make sure it's named properly. So this is image 1. It says image 1 by default, so I'm going to change it to my logo. So I'll just call it logo. Okay, that makes it a lot easier. Or I could just say proof logo. You know, proof. I like my underscore logo. Okay, just to make life easy. So that's the proof logo, right? So that's it there. So what I want to do, I'll bring in all the logos, all the images before I start adjusting the different sizes. Okay, so the proof image is there, and what else again? And the background one now. So how do we do the background? Now take note, the background image has to be on the screen one. Okay, it has to be located on the screen, not in any of the rows. All right, so I'll click on the screen. All right, then I'll come in here, I'll look for background picture. Okay, I'll click on that. You see all the images that I brought in previously, you see them here. So I think that's BGPNG, that's what I named it. So I'll go there, and that's it now there. Super. Right, so what else again? Let me try and remember what we have. we have the Google logo. The Google logo comes after the images. Let's quickly look at it. Okay, comes right after it. Super. So you can see the Google comes next and followed by the line. I think that's about it. The Google, then the line. All right. Okay. So we've seen that after the logo, we have Google. So I'm going to again put another image for Google image, and that's Google comes in next. Right. And I'll call it, rename it. I'll call it Google image, Google logo. What do I call it? Logo or Google underscore logo. Right. Okay. Then what comes next? The icon. The icon at the bottom comes next. So I will come in here, and that's this one here. But I want this one to be a background image. All right. A background image. I don't want to put it right on top as a proper photograph. I want it to be at the background. So, all right. Select the I'll select the row where you have it, which is row 3. Select it, and I'll come in here. I want to make it as a background image. So background picture, that's it here. Background picture. So I'll come in here and I'll choose line in between. Yeah, that's it there. Right. So I think there's a way I configured my line in between. So that's row number 3. Yeah, that's this one here. So height. So this is the configuration here. What I changed here. So I changed the height to be absolute 50 pixels. So let's go to the height. That's it, the height section. I came in here because I practiced with it. I just want to be sure. So I chose absolute. You can see that absolute. That's what I have in here. Absolute 50 pixels. Absolute 50 pixels. 50 pixels. 50 px. I just put 50 and I don't have to type in the px. So that's it there. And what else? The width is 80%. So 80% of the screen. I don't want it to be like, stretched out all across the screen. So 80% of the screen. So how do you do that? Now that's the width here. So to get a percentage number, you have to choose relative size. So I choose that one there, and I'll come in here and type 80. Okay. 80. You can see by default it automatically brings in the percentage. So that's it there. Then I have the background image that's it there already. Then the background picture resize mode, and make sure it's centered. Background picture resize mode, this one here. I came in here and I changed it to center. Remember, I actually practiced this to make sure I got it right, but you have the luxury of not having to practice it, but just to use the configuration that I have in there. Right. So so that one there. Then what else haven't I done? Horizontal alignment. So horizontal alignment by default is center. So that's it here. All right. So that's me done with that. So we have all the images brought in now. All right. The next thing that came was the username and the password and the sign in. So we are going to bring in two input boxes, right? And one button. All right, 2 input boxes and 1 button. All right, so I will select row 4, under row 4, which is the username, right? So I'm going to bring in the input boxes. I think that is called input. Let me double check. It's called text input. So I'm good then. I'll click on it and I'll come up there just to make sure I'm inside it. Once I see the orange icon, I know, yes, that's where it's supposed to be. So that's it. But yeah, that's it there. So so that's input, row number 4. Remember, I like renaming my stuff. So I actually I'll rename it. I'll call it input underscore username. All right, username. Enter. Okay, so that's that one there. Then I'll bring row number 5, the same. We have the input box there. So I'll click on row number 5 and I'll grab this and I'll put it inside. Once I see the orange inside row number 5, I will let go. Super. So that's it there. Again, I'll come in here, I'll rename it. So I'll call this input underscore password, because that's a password section there. because you have to type in stuff into it. That is why you are using the text input to allow you type stuff into it. Otherwise, if you use image or some other stuff, you won't be able to type it. So that's why it's called the text input component. Right, so that's done there. So the next thing is the button. And the button was located inside row number 6. Super. So I select my row number 6. Then I'll type in button, B-U-T-T. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to drag it and put it inside my row number 6. Right. Super. That's it. And again, I'm going to rename my button. The button is supposed to be called, okay, so the next thing is the button. So the button, I'm going to rename the button now. I'm going to call it sign in. And usually I start my buttons with BTN underscore sign in. All right, so just name it that. When you are naming your items, you do not leave any space. If you have 2 words, you separate them by using the underscore, no space. Okay, so yeah, so now that's the button there. Then the next thing to bring in is we want to have the create. I think it's called create an account. I just double check. Create an account and forget password. You can see them, they align on the same row. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put 2 rows inside here. I beg your pardon. I'm going to put 2 buttons inside here, and the 2 buttons will lay side by side because it is row. If it's a column, column cannot lay side by side. They follow each other. They can only take one item. But because this is row, it can take more than one item because it's row, and to play them side by side. All right. So I'm going to go to my row AM7, and what do I want to bring in? A button, because I want it to be clicked. Okay, so I'm going to go button. That's the button there. I'm going to put it inside row 7. Yeah, that's it. That's 2 buttons. Another one, but remember it has to be inside row 7. Yeah, that's row 7, and that's it. So now I have 2 buttons. Super. None of this is formatted yet. Okay, take note. But this is the skeleton stuff. So I'm going to start formatting them from the top. Okay, let's take a look at how it looks now. It's going to look so messy. But it's your formatting that will make it look nice. So here's, see the way it looks like now. Ugly, yuck. So, but don't worry. Once we're done, we'll get it right. So back to it again.